Good morning, everybody. My name is Tutuzile Kupeka. Welcome to Life Sciences Grade 10. Last week, we started with the topic of microscopy. Today, we are discussing cell structure and function. Remember, we use the microscope to view the cell and all the structures in the cell. But this week, we are starting with the topic of cell structure and function. So we'll get to see the cells and analyze the different components of the cell. So the cell theory, this is where it all began. The cell theory was developed in 1839. Look at that, 18, that is like many, many centuries ago, by microbiologists. This microbiologist, Schleiden and Schwann, they were German clearly by their names. Schleiden and Schwann describes the properties of cells. So the cell theory, which was developed then, it's basically a theory that describes the properties of cells. It is an explanation of the relationship between cells and living things. What does this theory state? This theory states that, let me show you. This theory states that all living things are made of cells and their products. New cells are created by old cells dividing into two, and cells are the basic building blocks of life. So this is the theory. Whenever you are asked about the cell theory, these are the three points that you state. Cell theory states that all living things are made of cells and their products. So there's no single living thing that is not made up of cells. Any living thing, no matter how different they may be, plants, animals, amoebas, yeasts, fungi, all of those, they all are living things. It means they are made up of cells and their products. New cells then are created by old cells dividing into two. This is when you see the processes of meiosis and mitosis and binary fusion, all of those, whereby the cell divides to make more and more cells, and there's the process of replication, all of those processes. That's the process of forming new cells from old cells. Whenever you have an offspring, that offspring is a combination of new cells which were made from old cells, which are the cells from the parent cells, right? That's the theory there. And then cells are the basic building blocks of life. From a cell, you get tissues. From tissues, you get organs. From organs, you have the entire organism. So those are the building blocks. Like an example I made, when you're building a house, those bricks that you have, you combine the bricks, you can build a section of your house which will make the kitchen. You have other types of bricks which will build the section of the house that will make the dining room or lounge. Same way with tiles. You probably use different types of tiles when you make your kitchen and different types when you make your bathroom. So that's an example of a building block. And it's just blocks, like I mentioned, the blocks, it's basic building blocks. Without those basic blocks, you cannot have the whole thing. Without cells, an organ wouldn't exist. You wouldn't have an ear, you wouldn't have skin, you wouldn't have a heart if cells didn't exist, because they make up those organs, and a bunch of organs put together would then make up an organism. So these 3 points you need to know. They will be asked from time to time, and if ever we get to do a test with you guys, you can definitely expect this question from me. The cell theory applies to all living things, however big or small. The modern understanding of cell theory extends the concept of the original cell theory to include the following. So the parts that we just did, the three, then they are the traditional or the original cell theory. Now we have a modern understanding of the cell theory, which is in these 4 parts here. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but I'll just continue from there. Please forgive me. So I was still explaining, I think I got cut off here now when I was explaining the activity of an organism depending on the total activity of independent cells. This means in order for your body to function optimally for this organism, this one organism here, let's say a human being, we'll make an example of me, myself here. In order for I to function optimally, it means all the independent cells of my body need to be at optimum position, optimum, what's this? What's the word? Optimum performance as well. So that means if one of them is not functioning properly, let's say the cells of my heart are affected, that will definitely affect the heart organ, right? Because the cells that make up the tissues of the heart, which ultimately make up that organ, would be affected, and that would affect the heart. But if with the human body, as we know, we are all, it's connected. So if one part hurts, the whole body will likely suffer. So if there's a problem with the heart, it will affect all the other processes of your body because it will be affecting the functioning of the heart. So that's what it means here. The activity of an organism will depend on the total activity, all of those cells in the body combined. And then energy flow occurs in cells through the breakdown of carbohydrates by respiration. Here we will, it's not, I'm confusing these classes, but with the process of respiration, you break down the carbohydrates where you can break it down to get energy, right? So we get energy from the foods we eat. Then energy flow occurs in those cells over there. You break down the food we eat, then the energy will flow and go to the necessary parts of your body where it is required. Cells contain the information necessary for the creation of new cells. This information is known as hereditary information and is contained within DNA. This is the example that I made when we said old cells, new cells come from old cells. It's through this here, the creation of this information that it contains, DNA. DNA is passed on from generation to generation. That's why when we do paternity tests, you find, or even when we just to check for relations, family relations, we can do DNA tests, and you'll see that people from the same family will share similar structure, similar patterns in their DNA. Each individual has a unique DNA pattern, right? So no two individuals, except for identical twins, share DNA. So to find if you guys are related in your family, you could take your DNA samples and compare them. And to prove that you really are related, then more and more sequences in your DNA would match as opposed to those of strangers. So that information there is contained in the cells. But in what? In DNA. And then the contents of cells from similar species are basically the same. That's what I just explained here. When we explain people, when we check for the DNA or the content of cells from your family, this here though speaks to species. So human beings have similar content of cells. They are the same. They have the same content of cells because form fits function. Remember, the cells that make up the heart, like I said, will be different from the cells that make up the liver. So human beings have basically the same nose, same mouth, same everything. The difference would probably be a shape or whatever, but it's the same structure. You'll never find a human being with the nose of a dog, or a dog with the what? With the foot of a human being. So it depends on the species, like I said. So human beings, the species of the human species have the same content of cells. The species of animals or dogs or fish or insects have the same content of cells. So that's what also makes us differ from each other. We are all living things, yes, but the contents of our cells differ. And that is why then there'll be variety in how we look. So the basic thing we know is we all have cells, but the content of those cells differs. And that then differentiates and defines the type of structures you will have that other living organisms do not have. Plants have cells, but plants are structured differently from us, yet we are all human beings. So we share in common the fact that we have cells, but the types of cells we have are the ones that differ. And then DNA, which is that hereditary information of cells, is passed from parent cells to daughter cells during cell division. We explained this when during the reproduction stage, example, the cells from your mother and father, they combine, then it will during cell division it will split then, and you'll get certain traits from your mother, certain traits from your father, and then it will be passed on from generation to generation just like that. Cells are also the smallest form of life, smallest, the functional and structural units of all living things. Your body contains several billion cells, several billion, organized into over 200 major types, with hundreds of cell-specific functions. Some functions performed by cells are so vital to the existence of life that all cells perform them, e.g., cellular respirations. And then others are highly specialized, for example, photosynthesis. So this brings us back to that part where we say each species will have the same content of cells. So there are those functions that are vital and to the existence of life, and they're performed in all different types of species in all cells. That is cellular respiration. We need cellular respiration for the processes of taking in, for human beings or animals, for the animal species rather, you take in oxygen, you take out carbon dioxide. Cellular respiration, though, is the chemical process where the food or the carbohydrates are broken down, then you extract that oxygen and the energy that you need from it, right? That is central to all living things. Whilst it might be different for plants, whereby they take in carbon dioxide and they break down the heat and the carbon dioxide to make their own food, it's still the same concept of cellular respiration. That is vital to all life, all forms of life. But others are highly specialized, like photosynthesis. With photosynthesis, it is only specialized, or it's specific for what? It is specific to the plants. So plants are the ones that will undergo photosynthesis because they even have components that allow photosynthesis. That is not going to happen in human beings. We do not have chloroplast for us to even may have photosynthesis. You know, we don't have any green leaves. It's specialized. It's only a function specialized for plants. Another one that is specialized, maybe specialized for animals, for us human beings, would be, what's this? What are the different types? There are specialized functions, and then there are, you understand what I mean though? The core ones that are central to all forms of life, and that must happen in all forms of living things, are those like cellular respiration, those of, yeah. But the specialized one is the photosynthesis example. And then I'm seeing a question, what is the full meaning of DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acid. It's deoxyribonucleic acid. Deoxyribonucleic acid. I see BMX tried. Yes, it's you have a good idea. BMX, that answer, it's okay. The spelling is just a bit off, but you have the right example. Lamarck, the French scientist, was the first person to say that all organisms are made of cells. What are you saying, Sharon? Why are you, we are saying here, this person, these two people, these microbiologists, Schleiden and Schwann, they are the ones who developed the cell theory. So whilst, yes, they might have discovered the cell, as you are saying, in 1809, they discovered the cells and how they function. They then had to study it for many more years, to study cells and understand them and understand how they function. It was only later on that Schleiden and Schwann then were able to develop the cell theory. After comprehensive study of the cells, they deduced these 3 points: that all living things are made up of cells and their products, that new cells are created by old cells, and that cells are the basic building blocks of life. Because yes, initially after the cell was discovered, they had to study it. And after years and years of study, they did the study. It means they studied different types of organisms. And that's how they came up with the fact that all living things are made up of cells. It means they went through lots and lots and lots and lots of different living things and found that in all those living things, they find cells. Then they did again another study and found that actually the new cells are created from the old cells as they divide. So they studied cell division, and that's how they came to this conclusion here. Then in conclusion, they realized that cells are the basic building blocks of life. So maybe in their experiment, they tried killing off cells in a certain organism to see what would happen. And chances are all those organisms where they would kill off their cells, those organisms would probably die because they'd affect their function. So yes. So no, we are not saying Lamar didn't discover any of those things. We are just saying these two discovered the cell theory. And then here is the figure here, which shows a two-dimensional drawing of an animal cell. This diagram shows the structures visible within a cell at high magnification. The structures form the outer structure of the cell. So this is the cell, animal cell. You will need to know and understand this animal cell so that whenever you are asked, you can label it for yourself. So this is very important for you to understand. Please, please, please study it, understand it. But we'll discuss the various properties or the various components of the cells so that it's easier for you to understand and you get used to it. But just roughly, we'll just go through this. We have the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. This is it over here. And then it connects to the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So it's called the smooth ER and the rough ER. Then we've got polyribosomes. These are the polyribosomes. We have the nuclear pores. Nuclear pores, those are the small openings there by the nucleus, the small openings there. We have the centriole. Those are the small, small dots, small pieces there. We'll explain, don't worry, as we go on with the topic, we will explain and understand each and every component individually. This is the plasma membrane. This is the outer layer of the cell here. Animal cell, they have a plasma membrane. This is the vacuole. This is an opening here, vacuole, right? You see it? The chromatin. Chromatin is inside the nucleus. Inside this is the nucleus, right? As you can see, this one is the nucleus. Inside that, that's the chromatin, all those lines like you see there. There's chromatin over there. That's the chromatin. Then we've got what? The ribosomes here, the ribosomes. Then we've got the mitochondrion. You'll see this is a mitochondrion. And this again is the mitochondrion. So there's more than one mitochondrion, as you can see. All those with this structure, those are the mitochondrion. You can see also with the rough ER, there's more than one. As you can see here, there's another one over there. Ne? Then we've got what? The Golgi body. Golgi bodies are this structure. So as the more we study this, you need to understand them and know how to draw them or label them. Then we also have the lysosome. We will study, like I said, the details of each of these so we understand how they function. Okay, here it's visible enough this side. Oh, this is the centriole. Yeah, we'll discuss in detail all of these things. We will start with this is the what of an animal cell, right? And then now cell wall. What is the cell wall? The cell wall, which you might have noticed, is not available on this here. You don't find it on the animal cell. You'll only find it on the plants, bacteria, and fungi, not animals. The cell wall is a rigid, non-living layer that is found outside the cell membrane and surrounds the cell. Plants, bacteria, and fungi all have cell walls. In plants, the wall is comprised of cellulose. It consists of 3 layers that help support the plant. So the cell wall, these layers include the middle lamella, the primary cell wall, and the secondary cell wall. So we are discussing the cell wall here, which you will find in you'll find in plants, bacteria, and fungi. So we discussed it, it has 3 layers, middle lamella, primary cell wall, and secondary cell wall. The middle lamella, this one separates one cell from another. It is a thin membranous layer on the outside of the cell and is made of a sticky substance called pectin. These terminologies, guys, are very important. You will be asked about these. Those here, pectin is the one that makes up the what? The middle lamella. So it's a sticky substance. It's called pectin. It makes up the middle lamella. What does the middle lamella do? It separates one cell from another. Then you have the primary cell wall. This is on the inside of the middle lamella and is mainly comprised of cellulose. So it's on the inside. We said it's 3 layers, right? Let me try and use different colors. Let's see here. Highlighted. We've got, oh, that one is not visible enough. Okay, let me try red. Okay, it's fine. You can see that line. Let's do this here. You have the one here, a different color here. You have the second layer here. You can see, right, that I'm trying to do here. Then we've got the third one. I want to use a different, oh, let me use white. It will be more visible. Okay, white is not here. Let's try blue. Okay, it's still not visible enough. Orange, maybe, or red. Okay, I'm using red. No, let me use the pen rather. Highlighter is not doing this well. So this is the line. 1, you have the red there. 2, you have the yellow. Let me use the yellow there. Okay, and then this green here. Yes, so we'll take it as we have the red, the green, and the yellow. This green part here will represent the middle lamella, right? It is sticky, this green here, it is sticky, and it's made up of a substance. It's made up of a sticky substance which is called the pectin. So you find the pectin over there in the middle. It's only middle, the pectin is found in the middle lamella. What does the middle lamella do? It separates one cell from another. Then you have the primary cell wall, which is on the inside of the middle lamella. So this here would be your primary cell wall, which will be composed of cellulose. That is the primary cell wall comprising of cellulose. Then the third one is the secondary cell wall. It lies alongside the cell membrane. It is made up of a thick and tough layer of cellulose, which is held together by a hard, waterproof substance called lignin. So here you find in this secondary one, you find both cellulose and lignin. It is only found in cells which provide mechanical support in plants. So remember, we have different types of cells in the body. So in that same body, on that same organism, you will have certain cells that will provide mechanical support. So you'll only find the secondary cell wall in those cells over there. The human body cannot break down cellulose in cell walls because we do not produce the enzyme cellulase. So it means here, to break down cellulose, you will need what? Cellulase, that enzyme cellulase. Human beings cannot break down cellulose because we do not produce that enzyme cellulase. Okay, what? Pectin, which one is the pectin? Yeah, that one we just discussed here. Let's go back to it. What is the question again? The function of the pectin. Can I see the question clearly? What does the pectin do? Okay, the function of the pectin, let's look at the structure of the ways it's found. It's found in the middle lamella, yeah? Which is a thin membranous layer on the outside of the cell and is made up of a sticky substance called pectin. So it's in the middle, right? It is used to what? It is also sticky. So those two words can guide you. It helps keeps the walls of the adjacent cells joined together. It helps keeps those walls of the adjacent cells joined together. That is why you have that. You understand? So where's the second? The pectin keeps the walls of the adjacent cells together. I wanted to show you. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna try and I wanna go and search for you an image of cell walls. Let me Google for you. I want to show it to you just now. Plant cells. Plant cells. I'm sure you've seen that image before. I'm quickly searching for it there, okay? Let me share the screen. I'm sharing the screen now. Can you see my screen now? This is what I wanted to show you. Do you see this image here that I've opened? You see this image over here? So you would have the middle lamella would be, because these are different cells. You can see this cell, all of these are different cells in the plant cells. Those are all the different cells. Ne? The middle lamella would be the one that is keeping these two adjacent cells sticking together. So it's here in the middle here. It's the one that's there in the middle. It's keeping these two joined to each other. It will be found all around there. As long as they are adjacent cells, then it will always be there. Do you understand now? Do you have a clearer picture of where this middle lamella would be? Yeah. Where there's a darker green, it will be somewhere there in the middle because it's keeping those two cells joined together. For example, these two cells, if the middle lamella was not there, meaning if the middle lamella is not there, even the pectin wouldn't be there. That sticky one, it's sticky so that these two can attach to each other, much like glue. You would need glue to stick two things together. So if you wanna stick what can you stick? Maybe two boxes to close together, you would use glue. So pectin acts as that glue so that these two can stick together. You understand, right? I'm going back to the slides now. Tell me, confirm if you can see the slides. I'm not sure if they're showing now. Someone confirm with me, please. Okay, back to the slides now. I've shown you the middle the pic this. Okay, yes. Yeah, so remember those different components we've listed in the middle lamella, primary, and the secondary cell walls. Also note here, this is also important to remember, the human body cannot break down the cellulose in cell walls because we do not produce the enzyme cellulase. Then this here, this diagram, remember we studied the microscope last week? So yes, you can clearly see and identify which images are from the microscope, right? This year, the textbook I used again today, guys, it's the Sia Vula grade 10 Life Sciences textbook. You can find it for free online. And then for those of you who claim to have forgotten their textbooks at school, you can also use the Snaplify app where you can get hold of all other textbooks and they can help you at home. You can use it on your phone or your laptop or computer, wherever really. Okay, this here is the scanning electron microscope micrographs. What's a micrograph, guys? I don't want to assume you know. What is a micrograph? Micrograph. Someone tell me what a micrograph is. No one knows there. All of you, why are you quiet now? Where's Sharon? Where's Notan? Where's BMX? Tell me what a micrograph is. Don't even think too hard. It's just really like that simple. Yes, it's that simple. These are images taken by a microscope. They are called micrographs. So those are photographs or images taken using a microscope. That's why it's called a micrograph. A telegraph would be what? What would be a telegraph? It would be an image taken using a telescope. Those examples. Okay, I just wanted to be sure because each time I'm gonna at times I'm gonna label like a diagram, then at other times I'm gonna say this is a micrograph. So I need you to understand the difference. We'll compare images or diagrams which were drawn, and then we'll compare micrographs, which are photographs from the microscope. So you need to be aware of these terminologies. Ne? These were taken by the scanning electron microscope. These are of diatoms showing the external appearances of the cell wall. So these are different appearances of the cell wall. Okay, Sharon, I will type it and just towards the end of the lesson, I'll show you there's a slide we have written all of those. We're gonna finish we're not gonna finish actually. These are the images of the cell wall. You see, different cell walls. These are taken by the scanning electron microscope. So this is how the cell walls look like. Our time is up. I didn't even notice, guys. Yeah, it's 11:35. Okay, should I cover the functions of the cell wall? Okay, yes, this is the last slide I'll deal with you. Functions of the cell wall. The main function of the wall is to protect the inner parts of the plant cell. It gives plant cells a more uniform and regular shape and provides support for the plant body. The cell wall is completely permeable to water and mineral salts, which allows distribution of nutrients throughout the plant. Then the openings in the cell wall are called plasmodesmata, which contains strands of cytoplasm that connect adjacent cells. This allows cells to interact with one another, allowing molecules to travel between plant cells. So the main function of the cell wall is to what? To protect the inner parts of the plant cell and give the plants a more uniform and regular shape, and also provide support of the plant body. So guys, same way, what do when it's raining, you wear a raincoat. That's just an example of protection. You are protecting yourself from getting wet. So that's what we mean by protection. It's encapsulating. It acts as a capsule. It protects every inner contents of the cell. Then it will also function as a what? it gives a cell a more uniform and regular shape because it would provide it with this rigid structure. So now this shape will be more regular and uniform because of the wall. Whenever you have a wall in your yard, around your yard, because then it would provide it this shape. Now the wall, the shape of the wall will ultimately be like the shape of your house. Ne? When you look at that shape of the wall, we can just say it's the shape of your house. It acts like that. And then, yeah, I'll end it off here today. Just here today. We'll recap from here tomorrow. And then, yeah. Sharon asked for the name of the textbook. I want to quickly go to that slide where I'm showing you. Oh, previous slide. There. Okay. Here I used Snaplify, the Snaplify app to access all CAPS textbooks. So on Google, just search for Snaplify app, or on your Play Store, search for Snaplify app. And then when you want to download that textbook, you go to the menu, go to free books. Then under free books, you type the name of the textbook that you want, or even just the subject and the grade. So you can type Life Sciences grade 10, and it will show you all the textbooks for grade 10 that they have. But the main one I used for this lesson is the Siyavula grade 10 Life Sciences textbook. So again, go to Google, type Siyavula grade 10 life sciences textbook, or just Siyavula textbooks, and then it will lead you to that website. Those textbooks are provided to us for free to use. So for now, during lockdown, so make use of them. You can't make excuses saying you don't have textbooks. Ne? Make use of these systems. They are there to help you so that when you go to school, you nail your exams, man, guys. Ne? Please, please, please. I will see you tomorrow. Do you have any questions? You got the name right, Sharon? You got the links? Are you okay? Cool. And then all these other links are, because I incorporated all lessons here. We'll be watching some videos together as we go on this topic. All right, guys, if there are no questions, I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for your participation. This week, I'll definitely be giving you homework, ne, guys? And please do it when I give it to you. All right, see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Bye.